Global Times, 19th of March 2024, China's substitution in raw material supplies will be expensive for the EU. China's infrastructure was constructed at the expense of the international community for more than 3 decades. However, redeveloping these industries overseas will require substantial reinvestment since China has turned hostile. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce urged the European Union not to disrupt the global supply chain of primary raw materials via non-market measures and to provide Chinese businesses with a fair business environment. On Wednesday, the Global Times received a statement from the China Chamber of Commerce to the EU concerning the approved Critical Raw Materials Act, CRMA, which the Global Times interpreted as an attempt to disrupt normal economic activities between China and the EU. According to Chinese experts, the European Union's endeavor to identify alternative raw material suppliers to China will impede trade and economic cooperation between the two countries and increase expenses for Europe's digital and economic transformation. In addition to mutual industrial dependence and significant potential for cooperation in areas including the extraction, refining, and recycling of critical raw materials, the Chamber urged the EU to maintain an unbiased stance toward Chinese companies. The Chamber expressed its desire for the European Union to refrain from politicizing and weaponizing economic and trade issues, diminish obstacles to investment and market entry, foster dialogue and cooperation between China and the EU in pertinent domains, and establish a business environment that is impartial, fair, and non-discriminatory for Chinese enterprises. The European Council's adoption of CRMA on Monday signifies the establishment of a framework to guarantee a sustainable and environmentally friendly provision of critical raw materials. The agreement delineates 2 lists of materials indispensable for the defense and space sectors and the green and digital industrial transformation. The CRMA sets forth 3 standards for the annual raw material consumption of the European Union: 10% must be sourced locally, 40% must be processed within the EU, and 25% must be recycled materials. Wednesday, Yang Chengyu, an associate research fellow at the Institute of European Studies of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, told the Global Times that the CRMA represents the strategic intent of breaking dependence on single mineral raw material import sources and dependence on the supply of refined products from Chinese mineral resources, thereby posing potential challenges to China-EU economic and trade cooperation. Yang remarked, "This move creates a potential collision between China and the EU in critical mineral resources, thereby intensifying competition for international minerals. The act aims to augment the diversification of mineral raw material sources through large-scale investments in critical minerals worldwide." Chinese experts assert that the regulation has solid values and ideological connotations. Yang stated that to increase the economic viability of its green transformation and green product manufacturing, the EU must continue to rely on China for raw materials, intermediate products, and final products due to the close connection of the global green industry chain and China's substantial cost advantages in many green industries. China is the dominant producer and processor of critical minerals and holds a firm position in critical mineral mining. According to a report published on Goldman Sachs' website in September 2023, China refines 68% of the world's cobalt, 65% of nickel, and 60% of lithium and is responsible for 85 to 90% of global rare earth element mine-to-metal refining. China is a significant provider of vital basic materials to the European Union. Yang stated that due to China's technological advantages and tremendous production capacity, the EU's pursuit of the China substitution strategy in the green sector could result in unsustainable costs.